So guys, I'm here right now with Paul from the On the Couch Boxing Podcast and Connolly's King from Pigs from the Paddock. Yeah, we're branching out into horses too. So guys, we just had a anticlimactic weekend of boxing. Firstly, Paul, would you like to talk about how did you think that Adrien Broner fight went?
I was surprised, to be honest. I thought Adrien Broner would just smash Malignaggi into next week and knock him out and take the belt, because I thought Golden Boy handpicked Malignaggi for Broner to just to beat up on. They were cashing out on Malignaggi and feeding him to Broner. But
well, I think they did. I thought that was the case.
Yeah, fair play to Malignaggi though, because I thought he boxed very, very well. I really did. He gave it much more of a fight than I thought he was going to. But on Broner, I don't think it was a terrible performance. I don't think he was exposed like a lot of people were saying. I don't think it's the absolute end of his world. I just think he was that was a learning fight for him. A fight where he's going to come away knowing a lot more about himself, because how much is he going to learn when he was smashing the likes of Gavin Rees in 5 rounds? He wasn't really learning anything. He was just inflating him, wasn't it? And now that he's fought Malignaggi, I hope that will be in it, and the fight went the way it did, where he didn't have it all his own way for once. I think hopefully he'll have learned a lot from that and realise, okay, in future I can't just turn up and expect to win. Sort of thing, you know what I mean? I don't think it was a terrible performance by him, but it wasn't a sensational one by any means. But sometimes the fights like that are the ones that you take away the most from.
Okay. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting on a few counts. I think it was a reality check for Broner. He just jumped up 2 weights like he could fight anyone he wanted. You know, Malignaggi's not a beast at the weight. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have been such a problematic opponent for Broner. And in theory, we all thought the guy's a pound for pound guy. I think we're jumping gun. It's a little bit hard to quantify how disappointing Broner was, because, to be fair, he's never really fought anybody in Malignaggi's class. He's always beat up and fed on guys a lot smaller than him, and I think my overriding feeling is of disappointment. I expected more, but like Paul said, it's a bit of a learning fight for him. He might improve from it.
Might do. Yeah, I mean, myself, I actually, I've got a confession to make. I'm a bit of a Broner fan. I thought he was really, really good but coming into this fight, but yeah, things change. I mean, I personally definitely overhyped him. Thought he's a lot better than he really is. I saw a lot of negatives in that fight. There's a lot of things that I didn't like in that fight about Adrien Broner. His defense is nothing like his idols. I mean, literally, it's leaky as hell. Leaky as hell. He's totally open to the body. And he can't process defense to offense very fast. He can't do it. Floyd can. He cannot do it at all. He's in total defense mode, and then he's in total offense mode. I didn't ask you today how you guys had it, but I thought that the fight, I wouldn't argue with a draw. I wouldn't argue with Broner by a point or two, and I wouldn't argue with Paulie by a point or two, to be honest. I mean, it was a close fight. Definitely a close fight, and that's something that Broner's going to have to really look at and see what he's done wrong, because Paulie's not the same guy who fought Cotto and fought Hatton and fought Khan even. This guy's he's not even that good anymore. He's a lot less mobile. Imagine if he was fighting a prime Paulie. But we'll come on to that later. I mean, let's move on from that. What do you think Broner's going to do, take away from this fight, Paul? You were talking about what he could learn. What do you think he's going to learn?
I think he needs to be more active during fights, because he very, very rarely threw combinations for me. In the first couple of rounds especially, he kept just looking for the single counters. And he was catching Malignaggi and hurting him, but at the end of the day, that's not going to rack up any points and win many rounds if he does that the whole way through the fight. I think he did start to do that in the second half, and it helped him on my scorecard edge the fight. But for the first couple of rounds, I don't know whether he was just being, I don't want to say he was being lazy, but he was he seems to be taking his time a bit too much, and I think in future he has to. Yeah, he can't expect to just be able to do whatever he likes, sort of thing, because he likes to plant his feet. He likes to throw shots when he feels like. He likes a lot of thinking time, doesn't he, in the ring? And the top fighters are not going to give him that. Malignaggi didn't give him it, so I think in future he has to improvise a little bit better during a fight and not just thinking if he does, he can have it all his own way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I mean, I think that's about right. You know, one of the things that he's going to have to do, he's going to have to be a lot more active, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, there's long page in this fight where he went missing, and if he's not doing nothing on Paulie's throwing punches, even if let's say he's throwing 4 to 5 punches and one of them's landing, that won't count still. You know what I mean? If that happens time and time again, that's 4 punches. And if he lands 1 punch, 1 good counter punch, that's 4 to 1. And what's that mean? You lose the round. And that's what a lot of people were looking at, I think, you know, when they were scoring this fight. There's a lot of people who had it wide for Broner. I was thinking, so you're not looking at anything that Paulie's doing? You're not looking at anything at all? And I didn't understand that, but, you know, that's how people score fights, and that's why they're not judges. But, Chris, what did you think? What do you think he's going to learn from this fight?
Yeah, I've got question marks about what he does outside the ring. You know, the guy's got an ego. It's like he likes to do things how he wants to do it. We know his personality is a bit of an idiot. I think there's a lot of question marks about his preparation. It's definitely what he's doing in training, because the guy either can't fight for 12 rounds or he just thinks he can do what he wants. I think in the ring next time, I think we'll see a definitely more active Broner. I think he'll throw more punches. I think he'll be a lot more astute attacking-wise. It's like you said earlier, the guy can't go from defence to attack smoothly. It's too obvious. You see what he's doing. But I think a lot of the mental aspect will improve. And if it doesn't, it's going to be toast.
Do you know something I've just thought about? That this is just literally off the top of my head. Another way he's said as the next Floyd Mayweather, yeah? I see one person who he mirrors pretty closely, I think. And I think it's actually Canelo. I think him and Canelo are very similar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's not like Mayweather, is it? That's true.
Well, he's not like Mayweather, but he's very similar to... He looks very similar to Canelo for me. You know, he's a big puncher when he's got out like a weight or two above the man. You know, he cannot fight for the full 12 rounds, evidently, or he just chooses not to. There's a lot of things like that, you know, and, well, like, he got through this fight. You know, Canelo got through the trial fight. There's a lot of things that, you know, you've got to look at it and say, yeah, he actually is a bit like him, but he's not much like Mayweather. I think that's got to stop automatically.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about... let's talk about who he should face from here on out. Do you think he should go back down, Paul?
Yes, definitely. I think he moved to 147 and it didn't bite him. It didn't come back and bite him because he won the fight, but he didn't look the same fighter at 147 that he was at lightweight at 135. I think the weight definitely slowed him down because, like you said, he wasn't very active. There was a lot of rounds where he was doing nothing. He looked sluggish, if that's the right word. He looked very lethargical, and I think he gave up a lot of the advantages he had when he was a lightweight because, as you said earlier on, when he was a lightweight and a super featherweight, he was bashing up guys who were a lot smaller than him. And now that he was fighting someone who was just as big as him, if not a bit bigger, he gave up a lot of the advantages he has. So, how tall is he? About 5'7", something like that. If he stayed, there's not many welterweights who are shorter than him or who are built the same way he is. So I think he should go back down and fight some. I think he'll definitely have an easier time of things in the lower weight division because I think maybe at this point in his career, because he's only a young lad, I think 147 is a step too far for him because there's a lot of big fellas.
Do you think he should go down to 135 again, or do you think it's 140?
Well, I've been thinking about this. I don't think he'll be able to make 135 again.
I agree.
Because, like you said, he doesn't have a very good lifestyle outside the ring. Does he? All right, he doesn't blow up like Ricky Hatton and all that used to. but he doesn't eat rabbit food all the time, does he? I think now that he's gone up 12 pounds, is it? And he's, I think he said in an iFilm interview that he was eating steaks and all that every night. So, do you know what I mean? I think he'll change his diet a bit too much, going to 147, and I don't think he'll be able to smoothly change his diet back and lose all the weight again. So I think he's probably going to have to go back to 140, or go. He's never even been to 140. He's going to have to go down to 140 because I think 135 he won't be able to do anymore.
Yeah. Chris, what do you say? Do you say 135, 140?
Yeah, I mean,
all stay.
He could stay at 147 if he wanted, but there's only a couple of guys who could fight there. I mean, he could possibly fight guys like Khan, but he'd probably box his ears off. He couldn't fight somebody who can bang because he's too open to getting caught. I think at 147, the guy might have had a lot of dead weight. It's a big jump, 12 pound. You know, those guys talking about it like it's nothing. Jumping 2 weight classes is a big issue.
Yeah.
I think he can go down to 140. I don't think he could get to 135. I think he'd be dead at that weight if he tried it, having put so much weight on. Do you know what I mean? I think he'd be damaging it long run. So I think he could go to 140 and use everything he's got, his speed and his power at 140.
Maybe that's true. We'll go through a few of the fighters that he could fight, and we'll say if he would win or not based on what you think of him, on how you have him peaked in your height, in your mind, if you understand. And we'll all go through it, all three of us, okay? We'll start with Keith Thurman. Paul, do you think Broner will beat Keith Thurman?
At 147?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think that'll be a hard fight. I wouldn't put him in that fight. I don't think he would. Chris?
I think Thurman would take him out at 147.
Victor Ortiz? Paul?
That would be a close fight, but I think I'd probably lean towards, if Ortiz fights like we know he can fight and he doesn't just wimp out, then I'd lean towards Ortiz.
Chris, what would you see?
Yeah, I think that's fight Broner. I think if he had everything in it, I think Broner could win that fight by unanimous decision. If there were going to be a knockout, it'd definitely be for Ortiz.
I would suggest Broner would win that one, but it would be close. There's a good chance that Ortiz would beat him as well. How about Mike Garner, Paul?
Based on Saturday's fight with Malignaggi?
Based on we've only got that to go on. Yeah, well, you know.
Mike Garner would win. I think he just gets hit. I think he gets hit far too much, because it wasn't just against Malignaggi, he was getting hit, and put it this way, Maidana doesn't hit like Malignaggi. You get hit by Maidana, you're going to feel it. And you can't, there's no way he can let Maidana hit him as often as he got hit by Malignaggi. I'd go with Maidana to knock him out.
Oh, Chris?
Yeah, that's definitely a tough one, because I don't think Maidana's a 147 guy, to be fair. I think Styles may fight him, because he's a slugger. If he caught Broner, there'd be a big chance for him, wobbling and taking him out even. But I'd probably go with Broner to outbox him.
Me too. I think that Broner will beat him quite convincingly. I think Maidana's whole style is tailor-made to make Broner look good.
Yeah.
The next guy we're going to talk about is totally different. Devon Alexander.
Oh. It's hard to put the both. Well, watching Alexander the way he was against Purdy, which I wasn't impressed with, I'd probably go with Broner, to be honest. And maybe it would be one of those fights where he might not even deserve the decision, but I think because Broner's Broner, it would be one of these where it would go to the scorecards and he'd give it to Broner. I don't think Alexander's got the power to hurt him.
Chris?
I think Alexander would make a mockery out of him, to be fair. I think he'd just catch him left, right and centre to body. I think he'd UD him by an absolute mile. I
think so. I think Alexander will beat him too. I don't know how wide the decision will be, but it will definitely be a decision. And everything about Alexander just, I think it would be too much. He's better moving than Paulie right now. He's not afraid of being on the back foot. I mean, what's Broner going to do? Moan that he didn't stand in front of him again? Southpaw, so that Broner's defensive style doesn't really work too well against southpaws. But yeah, that'll be a good fight. I'd like to see that fight, but
yeah, that'll be a good fight.
Yeah, we'll see. Amir Khan, Paul.
I for me, that's a 50-50, to be honest, because Khan's got great work rate and great speed, which would definitely give Broner problems. But again, it comes back to Khan's chin, doesn't it? If Broner catches him, would he knock Khan out and knock him down?
But couldn't knock out Paulie.
Well, it's a good point, but at the end of the day, Amir Khan's not got the greatest chin in the world, as we could be here all night talking about it. So
yeah.
Out of all the fights you've mentioned so far, that would be the one I'd like to see the most, definitely. But that's a 50-50. I can't, because I can see both guys winning. I could make a good argument for the pairing.
No, go pick one, mate. Go on.
Pick one.
Flip a coin.
Can't. I have to pick one, but there's a hair's breadth in it by a whisker.
Okay, Chris, what do you reckon?
Yeah, a lot of what Paul said there were right. You know, you've got the chin thing with Amir Khan. I don't think it's as bad as people like to make out. And in my opinion, if they thought, I'd put a lot of money on Khan by a long way beating Broner. Unanimous decision all day.
Possibly, and I actually agree. You know, if it goes to the cards, I think Amir Khan should beat him because of his work rate and stuff. But can Khan stand up to the punches? Based on last time, I say yes. Amir Khan, yeah. Okay. Going down to Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley, Paul. I think that's going to be the next fight. I'm not joking. It's going to be either Maidana or Mosley next fight. I'm telling you. Mosley.
Mosley's a great warrior, isn't he? And I know he's coming off a good win over that. What's that guy's name? Cano, yeah. I know he's coming off a good win there. But Mosley's well over 40 now, to be honest. And I don't think Mosley's got the greatest work rate in the world, has he? So I think Broner would win a wide decision against Mosley. Wouldn't knock him out, no chance of knocking him out, but I think he'd win a decision.
Chris, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, prime time Mosley would knock the living shit out of Broner. But, I mean, that's going back a long time. I think if you look now, I think Mosley would have a good puncher's chance. I mean, he's a good counter puncher now. His work rate though, his output is not good enough, so I'd have to go. But it'd be a fight. Yeah,
I agree. I think that would be a logical fight for Golden Boy, Broner, and Shane Mosley. Everyone wins in that fight, really. You know, Shane Mosley gets paid, big name on Broner's resume. You know, Golden Boy, you know, set up Broner for a nice big win again. I reckon that would be a good fight for Broner. I can see that fight happening in a business sense. Or the Maidana fight. Moving down to 140, shall we have a look at the likes of Matisse? Shall we even consider that one? Paul, what do you reckon about Matisse?
I think Matisse puts him in a coffin, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. I think he might as well book himself a hotel room. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I don't even think he'd go past a round, to be honest. I think Matisse just walking straight down and that would be it. I mean, I'd love to watch it because we get to see Billy Big Bollocks put under big pressure, do you know what I mean? But I think he'd knock him straight away, Matisse.
Plus, Matisse is a brilliant body puncher, isn't he? I mean,
absolutely.
With Broner totally open to the body. I mean, I don't think he can duck or dodge or, you know, block a body punch. I've not seen him do it recently anyway. You know, I think Matisse would take total advantage of that. Yeah, I think so. The only way he would win that fight, I think, is either if Lucas Matisse just was shot overnight, Broner, you know, gained like 10 times the skill overnight, or if there was some kind of skullduggery on the scorecards if he went that far. That's the only way I can see Broner winning. But moving on from Matisse, let's look at another 145, Lamont Peterson. What do you reckon, Paul?
If Peterson goes down, I can see this fight happening definitely, because they want to take Peterson's belt. Peterson, I used to rate Peterson. I picked him to beat Matisse and everything, but watching that fight, there's no way he'd be able to outbox Broner. I don't think he quite have the power. I know he did well roughing up Amir Khan, but I'd probably go with Broner to knock Peterson out, because I think that loss to Matisse might have taken a lot out of Peterson. We don't know till we see him back in the ring, but yeah.
We'll see soon enough, yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with Broner.
Go on, Chris.
Yeah, it's a good point Paul made there. I mean, we don't know how he's going to react, you know, from getting knocked out by Matisse the way he did. If he came back like the guy who fought Khan, it's possible he could pull him into a dogfight. I mean, his fitness against Khan were ridiculous. So I think it'd be close, but...
We know why, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is another thing he's got to prove. I think with everything he's got to prove, I'd go with Broner. But even if you're at the top of his game, I think I'd still go with Broner. Just a slight decision, probably.
Yeah, I would personally say Broner. I think that's another good fight for Broner. You know, it's a logical business move, moving down. You know, Peterson wants the big money fights. He just had one, didn't do too well. If you haven't seen it, yeah, this would be another one. He'll get quite a bit of money for this one, and then we'll see where Peterson can go from there, and we'll see where Broner goes from there. In fact, Broner will be a 4-weight world champion at that point. So think about that. But yeah, here's another guy we forgot, Robert Guerrero. Do you want to start, Paul?
Me. Robert Guerrero. Guerrero, I've watched this fight with Berto, and he left Berto looking deformed, didn't he?
Yeah.
His work rate were brilliant. I think Broner will come unstuck against Guerrero. You know, I think I'd go.
So too.
I'd go with a Guerrero decision.
What do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I categorise Guerrero a bit like Malignaggi. He's not a big fish. He's like you said before, a bit of a gatekeeper. I think he's vastly overrated. I'd be disappointed if Broner couldn't do him.
Yeah, well, there's something to think about. You know, Guerrero may have looked very ordinary against, you know, Floyd.
Who doesn't?
But Broner's not Floyd. You know, as we can see, Broner's not Floyd. I think Guerrero would have a very good chance in that fight. I wouldn't be surprised if we did not see that fight happen, because it would be dangerous. That'd be a dangerous fight. You know, there's a good chance. I think that Broner could lose that fight.
I do too.
First. Who else is at 140? Danny Garcia, would you like to see that fight?
I'm just being...
Go on.
Paul, go on, you can
Go
go.
on, Chris.
I just think that would be an absolutely awful fight, me. I mean, Garcia is crude. I don't care what people say about who he's beat. I don't care that he beat Khan. The guy's crude. He's got one punch. I'd be well, I wouldn't be devastated because I don't like Broner. You know, I'm not a fanboy of his, but I'd be so disappointed if Broner couldn't come past him.
Me too. I think Broner would beat him. I think he'd beat him up. The only thing he's only got to, you know, look out for one punch. Paul, what are you thinking about, mate?
No, I was going to say the same. I think Garcia's power is overrated because, come on, who's he knocked out? He knocked out Amir Khan, who we've said.
Eric Morales.
Yeah, Eric Morales was ready. Eric Morales was ready for the old folks' home when he.
Yeah.
To be honest, he was no way near the Eric Morales he was. To be honest, and he couldn't knock out Morales the first time, could he? And that was only a year before. So.
And he couldn't knock out Judah either.
Yeah. So,
well, you know, guess what? Just a bit of news for you. There's talk that Judah is getting a rematch with Danny Garcia now.
Well, I hope not.
Me
wouldn't be surprised though. I wouldn't want to fight.
I wouldn't be surprised. Nope, I wouldn't either. Well, we'll see.
Would Garcia beat Broner though? I would say so. No, I don't think he's got the boxing skills either to get a decision. And I know Broner's easy to hit, but at the end of the day, everyone knows what punch Garcia's going to use. So as long as you stay out of the way, then you can out. Broner would outbox Garcia, I think. I really do.
Let's move on and leave Broner where he is now. I mean, he's had enough of a beating for now.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Paulie. What do you think Paulie should do from here on out, Chris?
I mean, Paulie can do a lot of things. He could make a lot of noise and ask for a rematch. He definitely overperformed in a lot of people's eyes. I'm not sure whether that's because Broner underperformed, but I mean, there's an argument to say that Broner didn't do enough to take his title, so I understand the fuss he's kicked up afterwards. But I mean, the guy's a legitimate fighter still. I mean, we've called him gatekeeper. He's below the top guys, but I do think he deserves a second shot at Broner at his title, and maybe Broner didn't do enough to take it, even though I give it to Broner.
Yeah, maybe. There is that. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with what Chris said. I gave it to Broner as well, but Malignaggi's got a very, very strong case for a rematch because he wasn't dominated like everyone thought he was going to be. Gave Broner without doubt his hardest fight, I think. So yeah, it's I think it would be a win-win if you have a rematch. All right, not a lot of fans might not want to see it, but if Broner rematches Malignaggi, he gets another chance to set the record straight. And if Malignaggi rematches Broner, then he gets another chance to get his belt back and kind of, settle the score sort of thing. So I don't think a rematch from their management's point of view is the worst idea. To be honest.
Maybe not. Yeah. Let's look at a few other options for Paulie. What about Mosley? Would anyone like to see that fight?
No, well, not personally. I mean, I think he's scraping about it. I can see it happening, though. You know what I mean? There's a justification for it, if you like. But what about someone like maybe Paulie having another go at Khan, see him level Khan's up?
No, I wouldn't want to see that fight.
No,
How about this one? Big fight for New York. Judah versus Paulie.
Well, I wouldn't mind that at all.
That'll be a good fight.
Yeah, it's like it would be like a last chance saloon, wouldn't it, for the both of them?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Could be the loser retires, sort of thing. They don't have to do that, but that's what it would be billed as, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. I think
the loser of that fight wouldn't get anywhere near the titles again.
Yeah. Who do you think would win that, Paul?
Who do I think would win?
Just first thought.
If Paulie boxes like he did the other night, then I could definitely see Paulie winning it. But if Paulie doesn't have another performance like that in him, if that was his kind of last hurrah, then I can see Judah. It'd be a good fight. It'd be a good fight though.
Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, it's actually a brilliant fight, really, when you think about it. 50-50 it could go either way. I'd probably favour Judah just at this minute in time, but it could go either way. It's a great fight, good shot.
Yeah, I would like that fight. I actually think that'd be a really good fight for both of them, good payday for everyone, good fight for New York. I think they're both from Brooklyn, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Plus, they'd both bring in respected audiences, wouldn't he? Malignaggi's like the more Italian side, isn't he?
Yeah, the Italian Americans, bring them.
Judah's the African American sort of thing.
We'll
do a lot of business.
Bring it all together. Have the Battle of Brooklyn.
Yeah,
it's a really interesting fight, that, it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Battle of Brooklyn, mate. Battle of Brooklyn. We'll be there because we brought it up. We'll have to go. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I can't really see that many other fights. So maybe Devin Alexander. Would you like to see him fight Devin?
No, not really. So I think the fight would be a bit crap.
There's not many other guys I'd like to see him out there fighting.
I heard one or two people say maybe they should try and get him for Kell Brook, but I think that's really unrealistic because Malignaggi will want too much money because he's hot shit right now, isn't he? After that fight.
yeah, I think so.
That would be a good fight, but it's unrealistic, isn't it?
Definitely unrealistic. In a business sense, in a perfect world, that would be a good fight for him. It would also been a good fight for Kell Brook.
Yeah,
when he was targeting Devin Alexander,
yeah.
should have.
It'd be a good message, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but unrealistic. But shall we leave it there? Let's not leave it there. Let's talk about the last thing. Prime Paulie Malignaggi versus today's Adrien Broner. Who wins?
Paulie Malignaggi by a decision.
Chris?
Paulie Malignaggi by a shutout.
I also say Paulie Malignaggi by a decision, so that's not good for Adrien Broner personally, but Adrian's got to really step up. He's got to really step up. We'll leave it there.